Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you like any of the videos, you like what you're hearing, you like what you're seeing, please hit the like button, subscribe button, share it out. Here we talk any sports, but it's been mainly football. We get some great coaches on here. Anybody that wants to come on and talk some ball, you guys got an offensive play you like, offense you just want to talk about, defense, a drill, anything unique you do, or if it's just as simple as ever and you want to come on here and present or talk, please reach out. I love talking ball. I love meeting people and building these relationships. I'm having fun. So please share this out. Let's get this growing. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you enjoy the channel.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Um, like I said before, I was going to do college football recaps and then decided to try to do NFL recaps. But with my schedule, I don't know if I'll do NFL recaps. So I've kind of decided maybe I'll try to do it once in a while, but sometimes you might just get a Chicago Bears one. I am a Chicago Bears fan, so I think it'd be pretty cool to maybe steer off and try to do a show where it's about football coaching and all that, and then maybe get into a college football recap, and then towards the NFL, maybe even gear towards and really thinking about doing a Chicago Bears one. There's a lot of radio shows or podcasts or shows, channels that revolve around Chicago sports, Chicago Bears, Chicago Cubs. So trying to test that out, see if I can do a couple of. Like I said, I'm going to do a lot of these. Trying to get this growing. Any Chicago Bears fans out there that want to get on and talk about it, let me know. We can try to get that going as well. Like I said, for the college football recap, and I'll reach out again. I may have my friend get on, and we're going to start doing that. We're messaging back and forth right now. We will, for the college football one, do 4 or 5 games, and we'll talk about them. So this one's going to be about the Chicago Bears. Today is September 27th, 2020. The Chicago Bears today played the Atlanta Falcons. And anybody that watched the game probably knows it was a heart attack waiting to happen. Had many of them. So the Chicago Bears squeaked one out. They beat the Atlanta Falcons 30-26 after they were losing 26-10 going into the fourth quarter. So they had to come back and score 20 points in the fourth quarter to beat the Atlanta Falcons 30-26. This Chicago Bears team is very inconsistent. It's been very frustrating as a Chicago Bears fan. We've high expectations ever since we were 12-4 in 2018 with Mitch Trubisky's his coming out where he started to play good. Matt Nagy's first year as being a head coach. You thought that we were going to do something special, and we did. And then last year, we had our unfortunate season, not making the playoffs. And then, this year, Trubisky's been on fire or under fire. The signing of Nick Foles kind of pushed that. And, I've said on a different show that, Mitch Trubisky said he was motivated, but for some reason it took, having a quarterback come in where he would have to fight for his starting job. And I found that very saddening. I found that very frustrating that it took someone like that while you're a professional to do that. And so I just never understood it. In the first game with the Detroit Lions, we played horrible the first 3 quarters. In the fourth quarter, we had to come out and score over 20 points to win the game. Detroit Lions dropped the ball in the end zone to win the game. We had to win that game. And then to go over to the New York Giants, who, quite frankly, them and the New York Jets are terrible. And we've only won that game 17-13. And so they had to squeak it out. They had to march down the field to try to score. And our defense ended up stopping them. And then to be down 26-10, the Atlanta Falcons, Mitchell Trubisky, he was 13 of 22 for 128 yards, 5.8 yards, a completion, only 1 touchdown. He had 1 interception. He got sacked 2 times. It's so that first 3 quarters or first half, his throws were not going well. We were trying to run the ball pretty well, but Trubisky, he actually tied the leading rusher. He had 1 yard. He had a 45-yard run. Montgomery had 45 yards, and then unfortunately, Cohen, he had 21 yards. But I think it's reported that he tore his ACL, which is very unfortunate. He is a big energizer bunny for this offense. He does punt returns, kick returns. He is a great running back. I just don't know what's going on with these Chicago Bears. It seemed like there was no identity going up, and I'll get to what happened in the third quarter. We just have no identity. It's, they want to try to go back to being a run team. And that's what was good. We get, 3 tight ends in the game. We're running the ball. You get some play actions, do those little short, quick passes. Well, then all of a sudden something happens, and I don't know, like we start to try to throw the deep ball. That's not Trubisky's style. You got to get him running. You got to get him doing option. You got to start running the ball, doing play actions, RPO, short passing games. That's just kind of what he does. That's what he's known for, and that's what you have to try to get him to do. But then it goes back to it's not all on him either. If you look at the offensive line play, I've never seen offensive lines on the ground so many times in the Chicago Bears. When you watch them do run plays, it looks pretty good, and there's times they're always on the ground. The left tackle, Charles Leno Jr., and I don't mean to call him out, but I've seen that guy on the ground more times than I can count. There's times where they're pass blocking, and if you watch the way they pass block, they're standing straight up and down. They're not moving their feet, and they get blown backwards. They're getting pushed back when they're standing straight up. So a lot of times it's not all on Mitchell Trubisky, but at the same time, that's very frustrating. But when they do give him time, he's not stepping into his throws. He is throwing off his back foot a lot. And it just kind of looks like he stares down one guy, and if it's, any farther than 5 or 10 yards, he just can't complete it, which to me is fine. You can do the, short little passing game. That's what he does. But eventually you got to take the deep ball. And it just kind of looks like he can't read a defense. It's very frustrating. And then our defense, really wasn't there. The Falcons came to play again. I said, they didn't have Julio Jones, the Atlanta Falcons, but their offense is pretty good. It's their defense. Their defense is not really good at stopping the pass, but we just couldn't pass it. The first half was very frustrating, and then, we give up all those points in the third quarter, and, it just couldn't happen. And then, the big talk was that Nick Foles finally came in. He ended up coming in and replacing Trubisky in the second half and third quarter. And I know that he came out and he was passing the ball pretty good, and he threw that interception. But I think that should have been a touchdown. The wide receiver had it. And then on the ground, when he hit the ground, that's when there was the defender took it. So I think it could have been called a touchdown. He comes in, and as a Bears fan, you're pretty excited that he's come in. And I was calling for Nick Foles to come in at halftime of the Detroit Lions game, but then Trubisky came out and he was lights out. He plays pretty well when you're up tempo, but he was playing pretty well. And then against the Giants, he had just enough to win the game. The first half he was great, and the second half he was bad. The first half, I think, of this game against the Falcons, you can kind of sit there and say, it was a whole team. But I think they're starting to feel the heat, and they just need a change. And so for Nick Foles coming in, he threw that interception, and then he was pretty well. He was throwing the ball really, really well. He was stepping into starts up for one. There was one I saw where he threw off his back foot, and so I started to wonder if he and Mitchell were practicing that. But he really was stepping into his throws. He was putting him on the money where his receiver could get him. There's a couple of big plays I don't know if should have happened. That one pass to Jimmy Graham that was right over the defenders. It went right through the guy's hand. I think that should have been intercepted, but that was just a play. Sometimes that's what happens. The Atlanta Falcons helped us out with their poor tackling. Their offense, I don't really like to question play calls a whole lot, but with the Atlanta Falcons, you get the ball, and we were down 26-23, I believe, and you're not running the ball. You're passing the ball. There's between 4 and 5 minutes left, and you're passing the ball, and you're getting incompletions. Well, that's helping us, the Bears, out. Thank you very much. But they, that stops the clock. So that play calling and that situational, I just don't know what you guys were thinking. Unfortunately, I don't think Dan Quinn has a job after this one. You give up the big lead to the Patriots in the Super Bowl. The debacle that happened to the Cowboys happened last week. Now, they responded well, and maybe that's what keeps his job. But you had a big lead on us Bears, and you let us come back. But Nick Foles comes in, and with a matter of 4 minutes and 27 seconds, he throws 3 touchdown passes to get us over the hump to win. That last pass that he threw on the post route into the end zone, he was getting hit, and I saw it, and I even yelled. I think I scared everybody in the apartment complex. He threw the ball. He was getting hit. It was more like a fling. It came up and hit his forearm. Couldn't even get his arm. 12 the way through. Touchdown. And then our defense had to step up, and I said there was a lot of time. The Atlanta Falcons kept moving. Luckily, I don't know what Matt Ryan was looking at. It kind of looked like the Bears were in a cover 2, and our corner kind of sank. Instead of staying down, he came down a little bit, then he sank back real quick. He thought he could rifle it in there. Right when that guy went to go step back in that cover 2, our safety jumped over and intercepted it. I don't think he really wanted to throw that. great for Nick Foles. He came in and looked like the Philadelphia Eagles Nick Foles when they were going on to win the Super Bowl. He's had a touchdown pass to Jimmy Graham, Allen Robertson, and Anthony Miller. Anthony Miller came, with 1:53 left. And then Gibson, intercepted that pass from Matt Ryan with 1:07 left, and, the Bears end up winning. Unfortunately, Cohen is probably going to have a torn ACL. I saw that happen on punt return. The guy got pushed into his legs, and so unfortunately there was no penalty flag on it. So the big question is, where do the Bears go from here? The big question is going to be, is Mr. Trubisky going to go back and be starting quarterback as Nick Foles? Again, I'll read Trubisky's numbers. It was 13 of 22 for 128 yards. He averaged 5.8 yards, a completion with 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Nick Foles, he was 16 of 29. He had 188 yards, 6.5 yards of completion, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. The interception, I think, could have been a touchdown, so that would have been 4 touchdowns. And that's just within halfway through the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter. So imagine if Nick Foles was in the game the entire time. Trubisky, he gives you that athleticism. He can run. He does give that threat if you run an option or get him outside the pocket. I know Nick Foles can kind of move out of the pocket, but he's not the one that's going to sprint and do all that stuff, especially now when he's with the Eagles maybe, but now he's not. So Nick Foles is going to give you more of that typical pro-style quarterback. He's a leader. He can manage the game well. He understands the game. I think he can read a defense better. I think he throws a better ball. It looked like he could step into his throws. So maybe that's what we need right now. Maybe we just need that spark of him. And then I know it might ruin Trubisky's confidence level, but I mean, you've had all these years to get better. You said you were more motivated than ever after they signed Nick Foles to challenge you for your starting job, and it shouldn't be that way. Nick Foles, if he starts next week, it's going to he's going to be a professional. He was professional as a backup here, and he's going to be professional going in. He's going to be prepared. He is motivated. He's not saying, I could lose my job to Mitchell, if I don't do well. He's not going to look at it that way. He's professional. He's going to go out there and do right. I think they need to take care of Miller. They need to take care of Cordell Patterson. They need to take care of Allen Robinson. They really need to take care of him. He had 123 yards receiving. He averaged 12.3 yards a catch. And, the defense, I don't think it's the same that we saw in 2018. But they played awful the first half and in the third quarter. And then all of a sudden, I think that Nick Foles gave him a spark. I mean, that's what we need. So the big question is, I know they're saying they don't know if he's going to start or not. I think it's time. I think we've had enough. The Bears, this is an organization that's very historic. They want to win. The fan base really wants to win. They're really tired of being good and then not being good, and then or just competing a little bit when you've got to deal with the NFC North of the Green Bay Packers always being there and winning. You got to deal with the years of the Minnesota Vikings, and you got to deal with other NFC teams when you're just right there. You're just you're kind of competitive. You always have a good defense, just not enough to really get you over the hump. I don't know if bringing in Nick Foles is saying it's a Super Bowl, but I think if you bring Nick Foles in, I think you can change some things on the offense. Don't stick to the run game. I think the run game is going to set the tone. I think it's going to take pressure off Nick Foles. I think he can read defense better because he's been around the league for so long. Playing in Philadelphia, playing in Jacksonville, being around, I think it's time to start him. I think it's time to see what he can do. Imagine if you put him in the whole game. I don't know. I don't think you give him a short leash. If you do put him in, it's not kind of like with Mitchell, after the first half you're done. No, I think you need to give him a shot. Mitchell's had his shots. He had his shots for a couple years. He had his shots so far these couple games. And so I don't know if this is the worst 3-0 team, but this is the luckiest 3-0 team because could have lost to Detroit by the drop pass. The New York Giants, unfortunately, lost Barkley. He tore his ACL. If they would have had him marching down the field, maybe they score. I don't know. So I think it's time to have Nick Foles play. I think it's time that we stick to the run game, get those tight ends involved, run the ball, get some play actions. We do have some speedy receivers, short passing game, especially with Nick Foles. I think he throws a better ball. I think it's quicker. I think it's more accurate all the time. Trubisky, he can throw a dime with the best of anybody, but I think that Nick Foles throws a better ball, throws a quicker ball, gets you out there better. He has better footwork, better mechanics. I'm not saying he's going to be Tom Brady, Peyton Manning by any stretch, but he could be that quarterback they need to lead them on the offense. The defense, we need to see more out of the defensive line, I think. They need to get more pressure. There was times they did get pressure, but it was penalties. But at the end of the game there, that's kind of when they came to life. We have such a good defensive line. We have such good with Khalil Mack and Akeem Hicks. Akeem Hicks is going to wake up. He started to at the end of the game if you watch it. They're getting a lot of double teams. So I think if one of them can really emerge, Mack or Hicks, and you get them both on the same side or on the opposite side of each other, who are you going to double team? Who are you going to decide to stop? The offensive line needs to be more consistent. There's times where they run an inside zone or a quick dive or a quick power, and it just looks amazing. Then there's times they run an inside zone or a wide zone, and one of them falls to the ground. They need to keep their feet up. Pass blocking, they need to move their feet. And it looks like they're catching the defensive linemen. It looks like they're waiting for them, and then when they wait for them, and those defensive linemen, especially for the Falcons, when they get that arm extension and they blast them right in the shoulder or standing up, they're going to push back. But you didn't see a lot of that. You saw it when Nick Foles got hit. You saw that. So I just think Nick Foles is going to bring that breath of fresh air. I know they like Trubisky. I know a lot of them say he's a good teammate. He's a good guy. But as a coaching staff, they have to make those decisions. I think we've all, as coaches, kind of made those decisions. Like I said, the city of Chicago needs this. The fans need this. They need, we're 3-0. That's great. But we've played the Detroit Lions. We're not good. We've played the New York Giants, who are down right now. They have a young head coach. They have young players. And then we play the Atlanta Falcons, who you think should be pretty good. They have a good offense, but they just don't keep leads anymore. So I'm not fully convinced with these Chicago Bears. I don't know. I'm going to take 3-0. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to take the 3-0. But we're going to see what they're made of. They don't play again until they'll play Sunday, October 4th. They will play the Indianapolis Colts at home. And that one, again, is a toss-up. People are, talking about betting on games. I'm not sure because, Philip Rivers could come out and be Philip Rivers that's going to throw 8 interceptions. He's going to be Philip Rivers from the Chargers a few years ago, so I don't know. I say Nick Foles should start. I think he could feast on the Indianapolis defense. I think if Philip Rivers can't really move. I think if Khalil Mack or Akeem Hicks can finally just get it going, finally get some offensive linemen push back and get into Philip's head because of his age, I think we could win that game, and then we'd be sitting here at 4-0. So that's my take on these Chicago Bears for this game. This is the recap. This is what I think. I think it's time for the Nick Foles era. We didn't get Teddy Bridgewater. We didn't get, Cam Newton, who in the draft. We did not draft Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson. So, Trubisky, I think you had your chance for a couple of years. I know you looked a little better. I'm not going to lie. There's times where you've looked really good. I think it's time for Nick Foles to step in. I think it's time for you to just focus on practice and getting better. I think it's time for you to learn. I don't think Trubisky had the chance to learn. He came right out of college. Only started for 1 year of college and all the playing time in North Carolina. So I think that he needs to really take a step back and watch Nick Foles do it. And I hope that Nick Foles can be the Philadelphia Eagles Nick Foles, to come in and play very, very well. I think that that would really help Mitchell Trubisky. I think he needs to look at this as a learning experience and say, okay, I lost my job. We're going to compete against each other in practice. We're going to make each other better. It's about the team. It's not about me. I'm going to watch Nick Foles. I'm going to learn from a guy that's been around for a while. So, I know they said they don't know who's going to start, but I think that's who they should go for. And if they do, I think they'll beat the Indianapolis Colts. After that, we'll all have to play Tampa Brady and play against Tampa Bay, and we're going to see how that goes because that's a good offense. Again, we'll get to that one next week. Matt Nagy said they were struggling on third down a lot. They weren't getting enough points. The red zone was kind of that. I think the play call in the red zone got a little cute. But Nick Foles near the red zone was able to complete these passes. And so, I know it wasn't a good or a decision they wanted to make, but that's kind of what they had to do. They got the win. So we're going to see. This is a scrappy team. That's a good positive thing for these Bears. I know that I'm complaining about being 3-0. It just doesn't feel like we should be 3-0. It really doesn't. If that offensive line can really clean it up, if that defensive line can come back and play the way they can play, if we can get quarterback play that's consistent, it's not, oh, one quarter we're doing this or this drive, whatever. Third down has been a problem for the Bears. I think they're going to focus on that a lot. I think the offense is going to get called out. I think they're going to get these receivers more involved. They're going to get these tight ends. They're going to run the ball. They're going to do these jet sweeps, get them outside, then come right up the middle. They got plenty of weapons to run the ball. They got plenty of weapons to do the short receiving passes. They got a lot of fast guys. They got guys like could catch. So I think if they can come together in the next couple of weeks, they stay healthy, maybe we can get it going. I think Nick Foles is going to do that. So again, guys, that's my Chicago Bears take. I think I'm going to start doing the Chicago Bears because my NFL recaps always go back to the Chicago Bears. I might get on and talk about the rest of the NFL if I can make my schedule work. So here's my Chicago Bears, first take of this. This is the full time of me going on. I will get better, get more information, and this is learning. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, share it out. If it's in podcast form, please share it out. I appreciate anybody that's come on and talked, all the support. Be on the lookout for great coaching interviews. Be on the lookout for YouTube. Be on the lookout for a new college football recap show with my friend Brad. We are discussing it as we speak to figure out who we're going to watch and break down and look at it. We've been wanting to do this since we were in high school and out of high school, so it's going to be a fun time. I'm looking forward to it. We had the discussion about it. So everybody out there, thanks for listening, and we're going to see you on the next one. Thank you for listening for my Chicago Bears recap for the Atlanta Falcons on September 27th. I'll see you guys next time.